President-elect,
go ahead.
Can you say categorically?
She's asking a question. Don't be rude.
President-elect, can you give us a question?
Don't be rude.
You're attacking us. Can you give us a question?
Don't be rude. No, I'm not going to give you a question. I'm not going to give you a question.
Can you state categorically?
You are fake news,
sir.
And according to a recent poll by Monmouth University, 77% of Americans agree with the president, believing that the old legacy media like CNN and the New York Times regularly report fake news. The survey asked respondents, do you think some traditional major news sources like TV and newspapers ever report fake news stories or not? 77% replied in the affirmative, an increase of 14% from last year. When asked, do you think these sources report these stories on purpose in order to push an agenda, or do they tend to report them more by accident or because of poor fact-checking? At 42%, most respondents said they believe it is to push an agenda, with 26% saying it went to poor fact-checking. In addition, the survey found that 83% believe special interest groups are intentionally trying to implant false information into the news cycle, and even more believe those tentacles reached all the way into social media sites and YouTube.
What you need to remember is that when interests are working this hard to shape your opinion, their true goal might just be to add another layer between you and the truth.
And it's not just conservatives who are waking up to the obvious bias and propaganda pushing of the legacy media. A whopping 61% of Democrats are in agreement. That's an increase from 43% just a year ago. With confidence in the Fourth Estate waning amongst Americans, it'll be interesting to see how the planned news culling by tech giants will fare. Their algorithmic methodology for determining a trusted news source is designed to favor establishment media while silencing new media outlets. Now, by making these editorial judgments about what counts as quality news, tech giants are shifting away from a neutral platform to a publisher with an editorial opinion.
So back in January, Ted Cruz was questioning executives or representatives from Google, Facebook, and Twitter, asking them, is your business an open public forum? Are you censoring conservatives? Because like we've seen with the lawsuit from Prager University against YouTube demonetizing their educational content, these companies are targeting conservative voices, targeting Christian channels, targeting pro-gun channels. And he asked this question because, and phrases it in a specific way, because if they're not open public forums, they lose protection under the Communications Decency Act. So if they're not public forums and they do moderate and censor content, they become legally liable for the content that their users post. So say the hypothetical, YouTube loses this protection and someone uploads illegal content such as child pornography or other content that's illegal, YouTube could be held liable for that content. So that's not something that these companies want. They don't want to be found in court that they're not open public forums. So we'll just go ahead and play a little bit of that clip with Ted Cruz questioning these different tech giants.
Censorship that we are seeing across the technology companies is highly concerning. And the opening question I asked you of whether you're a neutral public forum, if you are a neutral public forum, that does not allow for political editorializing and censorship. And if you're not a neutral public forum, the entire predicate for liability